Imagine driving home after a long day of work, exhausted, looking forward to nothing but rest. Now imagine your car being rammed in the dark by another vehicle, strangers stepping out, and your life changing forever in just a few minutes. This isn't a movie scene. This is the terrifying reality faced by one of South India's most celebrated actresses, Bhavana Menon. And at the heart of this shocking story lies a leaked video worth an unbelievable 15 million rupees. But how could a single video hold such power? Tonight, we dive deep into the crime that shook an entire industry. Bhavana Menon, born Kartika Menon, began her career in 2002 with the film Untold. Success came instantly. By the time Cid Musa hit theaters, she had become one of the most in-demand actresses of South Indian cinema. Directors adored her, audiences loved her, and her name meant box office success. On screen, she often played strong, resilient women. But little did she know, real life would test her resilience in ways far more brutal than any script. On the evening of February 17, 2017, Bhavana was returning from a film shoot. It was around 9 p.m. when her car left Thrissur for Kochi. She was exhausted, sitting quietly with her driver, unaware that another vehicle was tailing her in the shadows. Suddenly, a black SUV rammed into her car, sending shockwaves of fear through the silent road. What followed was not an accident. It was the beginning of a meticulously planned nightmare. As the cars screeched to a halt, 3 masked men stepped out. They attacked Bhavana's driver brutally, forcing him to flee for his life. With no one left to protect her, the men dragged open her car door. Moments later, 4 more men climbed in, 7 masked strangers, and 1 terrified actress. The deserted road, the locked doors, and the closed windows sealed her fate for the night. For the next 2 hours, the vehicle wandered through empty roads. Behind those tinted windows, Bhavana was trapped in a hell she could never have imagined. Her screams were muffled, her cries unheard, as the men carried out their horrifying plan. They had chosen the time, the route, and the isolation perfectly. And as the car kept moving, the nightmare only deepened. Among the 7 men, one stood out, known as Pulsar Sunny. He pulled out a phone and began recording the crime. His mask concealed his identity, but when Bhavana, in desperation, lashed out, she managed to pull it off. What she saw left her stunned. This wasn't a stranger. This was someone she had seen before, working as a driver on film sets, connected to the very industry she belonged to. The realization made the situation even more terrifying. This wasn't just a random attack. It was orchestrated by people who knew her, who had access to her world. After nearly 2 hours of torture, the men finally abandoned her, but not before delivering a chilling warning. Pulsar Sunny threatened her. If she spoke to anyone, the video would be released. It would destroy her career, her reputation, and her entire life. Bhavana was left broken, but not defeated. Summoning immense courage, she confided in a close friend, a director she trusted. He urged her to report the crime, reminding her that silence would only empower her attackers. Trembling but resolute, Bhavana walked into a police station and filed a complaint. It was a bold move, one that would soon expose just how deep this conspiracy went. The police moved quickly. Pulsar Sunny was arrested, and one by one, the other suspects were tracked down. For a moment, it seemed like justice would be swift. A high-profile actress had spoken up, and the culprits were behind bars. But as the world was about to learn, this case was far from over. Because inside the prison walls, a letter would surface, one that carried names powerful enough to shatter the illusion of safety in the film industry. 2 months after the arrests, an inmate walked free from jail, carrying a note allegedly written by Pulsar Sunny. That note hinted at something far darker than anyone had imagined. It suggested that the men who carried out the crime were not acting alone, that they were following orders from someone much higher, someone untouchable. The letter contained a name, and once it came out, the industry would never be the same again. The letter spread like wildfire. Inside, Pulsar Sonny claimed that he and the other men had not acted on their own. According to him, the assault had been ordered by one of the most powerful superstars in the Malayalam film industry, a man admired by millions, an actor whose name alone could fill theaters, Dileep. The accusation stunned the entire country. Could a beloved celebrity truly be the mastermind behind such a horrific crime? Police wasted no time. Dileep was arrested, and headlines exploded. On one side stood Bhavana, a respected actress who had risked everything to come forward. On the other stood Dileep, a superstar with immense money, political influence, and a loyal fan base. The industry split into two camps: those who supported Bhavana's fight for justice and those who believed the allegations were nothing more than a conspiracy to ruin Dileep's career. For weeks, the story dominated the news, but 2 months later, a shocking turn came. Dileep was granted bail. Despite the seriousness of the charges, the release fueled outrage and despair. Was power once again stronger than truth? Yet just when people began to believe the case might collapse, investigators uncovered something explosive: a memory card. Inside this small card was the unthinkable, the very video recorded during the assault. The footage proved that Bhavana's claims were real. It was undeniable evidence, a chilling piece of digital truth that could not be silenced. When the video reached court, it added weight to Bhavana's testimony and gave the public renewed hope that justice would finally prevail. In the courtroom, Bhavana revealed even more. She explained that her ties to Dileep went back years and that their history was far from friendly. In 2015, during Dileep's turbulent marriage, Bhavana had exposed his affair with another actress, Kavya. Her testimony had contributed to his divorce. From that moment on, Dileep allegedly swore revenge. According to Bhavana, this crime was not just about humiliation, it was payback. The revelation painted the case in darker colors. It wasn't a random assault, it was a calculated vendetta, orchestrated to break her spirit and end her career. The puzzle pieces fit together too perfectly to ignore. Yet, despite mounting evidence, Dileep's influence loomed large. His wealth, his connections, and his political allies worked silently in the background. While Bhavana pleaded for justice, Dileep's career seemed untouchable. He returned to film shoots, fans celebrated his presence, and producers lined up to work with him. Meanwhile, Bhavana was left to relive the trauma, fighting not only her attackers, but also an entire system that seemed determined to protect the powerful. The imbalance was sickening: one woman's truth against a superstar's empire. Then another twist sent shockwaves through the public. A leaked audio recording surfaced, allegedly capturing Dileep's own voice. In it, he threatened the very police officers who had dared to arrest him, vowing revenge against them. The recording spread through media outlets, giving investigators yet another piece of damning evidence. It seemed impossible for him to escape this time. And yet, he did. Despite the memory card, despite the recordings, despite Bhavana's testimony, Dileep remains a free man today. His films continue, his influence endures, and his name is still celebrated in parts of the industry. On the other side, Bhavana's career never fully recovered. She continues to speak out through her social media, sharing her pain, her resilience, and her ongoing demand for justice. The Bhavana Menon case is not just a story about crime. It's about power, corruption, and the lengths people will go to silence a victim. A leaked video worth 1.5 million rupees became the symbol of an entire system's failure to protect the vulnerable. And as of today, this case remains unresolved. leaving us with one haunting question: when truth and power collide, who really wins?